Today, I am here with Matt Shechtman, owner of Infinity Yoga. He's an Ivy League graduate and attorney from Atlanta that got into the yoga business. And today, we're gonna learn how Matt turned one yoga studio into 4 in just the last few years, how they've earned hundreds of online reviews with an incredible 5-star average, achieved great success, and even won the 2016 Bold Conference Multi-Location Business of the Year Award. Growing a small business isn't easy, and to be successful, we know 3 things for sure. You have to work hard, you have to be bold, and you must constantly learn. We're gathering some of the best minds in the business world to share their ideas and strategies with you so you can grow your business easier, be more profitable, and have a lot more fun being a business owner. We're on a mission to connect the world of wellness, and this is the Mind Body Bold Show. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Garcia, and welcome to another episode of The Bold Show. Matt, are you ready to be bold?
Let's do it.
Well, first I want to get this out of the way. Most small business owners, they have a hard time being able to have an attorney help them with a lot of the little stuff. You actually are an attorney, so that makes things a little easier for you?
Yeah, when you're just starting a fitness business, there's not a whole lot of stuff that you need. Entity structuring is really important. Putting together your trademarks is going to be an important thing, and then just having general contracts with respect to your instructors and your staff are important, but that stuff isn't incredibly difficult.
Right.
I think that the biggest thing that being an attorney helped with is general organization and kind of work ethic, and that really went a long way.
Yeah, you can't be an unorganized attorney and plan to be successful, huh?
No.
So you've actually grown from one yoga studio without really a ton of experience at all in the yoga industry. You were an attorney. But you started one yoga studio and you brought that to 4 in just a matter of a few years. You don't do that unless you have a really great marketing plan or something that's executing the right way to be able to get more new members in the door. Would you mind sharing your top 1 or 2 strategies that you use to get more people in your doors?
Sure. One of the first things that we did, we worked with an SEO, a search engine optimization expert, who actually happened to be a client in our studio, and we got to develop a strong relationship with this particular individual, and he emphasized and really sold us on how important organic search results were. Wow. And so that was one of the main things that we focused on. And then the second thing is word of mouth referrals. In pretty much any entrepreneurial business, any small business, word of mouth is going to be your cheapest and your most effective marketing tool. So us focusing on that really went a long way to generating a great vibe in the community and building our clientele.
With most small service-based businesses, what we tend to notice is that, it's very easy for them to have this personal relationship, because usually the owner, if they're not big yet, they haven't really detached from the customer relationship yet. They're still very much involved. So they do get the referrals, but for you to get to as many members as you did, and one of them being because of referrals, I'm sure you didn't just wait for the referrals to come in. Did you have a system in place to go get the referrals to make sure that they happen consistently?
Oh yeah, and a lot of this was the organization that kind of came back to my attorney background, but it also came back to the search engine optimization that I referred to. Okay. So one of the main things with your organic search results is tying into other sites, and Yelp and Facebook have very strong online presences. So when you tie those back and you have stronger reviews, stronger Google reviews, stronger Yelp reviews, it boosts your organic search results. So that was one of the first things that we focused on. And we did, day and night, we would ask students that we built strong relationships with for reviews, and we'd give them account credits, we'd give them free classes, give them discounts, because at the end of the day, as opposed to paying for marketing, paying for advertising, we essentially wrote it off as we would pay for reviews.
Yeah, and the thing too, when you pay for advertising, it's more expensive for 2 ways. One, it's expensive because you have to go and get that business, right? But 2, they don't close as easy as referrals do. So a lead from the internet may close at 2 or 3 out of 10, whereas a referral, you may close 8 to 10 out of 10, depending on exactly what type of relationship you have with that referred. Right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, just think about it the same way that you look for a local handyman or a plumber. You know, I don't just click on an ad all the time, I ask my neighbor. And that's the same way that people in the fitness industry come to try out yoga for the first time, because maybe they had no interest in yoga, but their best friend, won't stop bugging them to go, and eventually they go. And then we have that established engagement with a new client.
Now, with as many members as you have, do you make sure that you tell your team and you go out there as well and ask for referrals, ask if they have any friends, bring them in? Do you do that at all?
Yes, so when we were smaller and it was a little bit more manageable to do all of that manually, we would be in there day in, day out. And then with some of our trusted managers or, very solid instructors that were working with us full time, it was sort of a part of our culture to make sure that they were engaging with clients, that our clients would be invested in the community that we're building, so they wanted to help. But as we grew, there's only so much you can do to continue to reach out when you have 400 or 500 people coming in your doors a day. You just can't be in 4 different places at once. And so we engaged with a company called Listen 360, which is a customer feedback and referral system, where after a customer comes the first time, or every 3 or 6 months, you can kind of automate it however you want to set it. They will get a review link that gives them the opportunity to rate their experience with us. So it, one, gives us the ability to anticipate customer feedback issues so that we can address any problems. But two, if they're really, really happy with the business and they rate us a 10 out of 10, those are our most loyal customers, and it automates a link for them to provide a Google review or a Yelp review.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So the sales process for most small businesses is a challenge. A lot of people hate asking for the sale. They kind of have a hard time getting to the close. They have a very easy time with open. It's the closing because they feel almost like pushy, and a lot of people stay away from becoming the salesperson, right?
Right.
So you've gotten to 4 locations, you got tons of members in there. Obviously, you're not afraid to ask for the sale, and obviously you have a sales system in place. So let's take me through the journey. Let's say I found you on Google. What's it like? I reach out to you, I call to see if you guys have an open spot, right, in class tonight, and then take me through that call. What do you get from me on that call to learn more about me? And then what expectations are set for me as the person? Should I come to class on time with the water, with a mat, and then all the way to the close?
Sure. So if you're calling or emailing and interested in coming in for class, the first thing that we want to know about you is, what is it that you're looking for?
Okay.
Everybody has a different path. Maybe they've been practicing yoga forever and they're moving into town. Well, I wouldn't necessarily send them to a beginner's class because they've moved past that point.
Right.
Or maybe you've never done yoga before, in which case we have a progression set up for somebody going from beginners. As they learn to develop, they go into a more foundational intermediate class, moving on to more advanced classes. So finding out what that particular person is looking for is great in terms of pushing them in the right direction so that they have a good experience.
Right, because that's part of the close.
Yeah, absolutely. And then within that, we're not always going to be perfect on where we point somebody, and that's because we may not know how to interpret the information that's coming in, because we're just not perfect all the time, and they might not even know how to ask.
They don't know what advanced is.
Correct.
Or what beginner is.
Right. And so because of that, as with many fitness industry businesses, we have an intro period. So ours is 2 weeks. So we essentially have 2 weeks where we encourage people to come as much as possible for a low intro rate.
Okay.
And in that time, they can experience a wide breadth of classes. So if we miss on the first one, then we can point them in a different direction. And that's where that feedback, that automated feedback system comes into place. Hey, they'll write, that basics class was too easy. I get that comes in. I reach out to them and say, you know what, these are some other great options. Whereas if we didn't have that, that person might not have thought to reach out to us. They would have just been like, that class wasn't that great.
Right.
But
so you actually will make the effort to find out how they enjoyed the class, if it felt like a good fit, and then based on their feedback, now you can have a more aligned conversation as to what is beginner, intermediate, and advanced.
Right, and that's immediate,
Okay.
and then that points them in the direction over the next couple weeks of their intro. And then about halfway through their intro period, our managers, we have a couple of retention-focused managers, they take all of the new students that have come into the studio, and we have all that put into a spreadsheet, and it's divided based on location and classes that they've taken, and they will actually make a reach out phone call. This is our retention system for moving them past the intro program into a membership or a class package option.
Okay.
And this, we have always advocated for the soft sell. It is, how is your experience going? What can we do to improve? How have you liked the instructors that you've taken? And because we use MindBody, we can look at all the classes that they've taken, we can look at all the locations that they've been going to, and we have this information in front of us in order to have that information handy so it feels like a more personal interaction with that person, even if the person making the phone call hasn't necessarily met that person. And then if that person is interested or they have been engaged with the studio, they just give them a reminder that they can get a discount on their next package if they sign up before the end of their intro period. And then they ask more, typically.
What's your intro period, like a week?
It's the 2 week.
Or 2 week free.
Weeks.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And so you have a great sales tool with having hundreds of reviews online, which is insane, by the way. I've seen it on Facebook, I saw it on Yelp. It's not so much insane that you have that many reviews. It's that insane that you have that many reviews with a 5-star average, not a 4.9, which is nuts. You got to agree that's nuts, right? Yeah, okay, good. You're like, yeah, that's my business, I'm nuts. So with your awesome track record, that doesn't just happen. Because you know there's people out there that when they're upset, when they're mad, that's when they go leave a review. If they're happy, they don't go leave a review unless they're really asked or coached, most people at least.
Right.
So how did you get to that point? What are the steps you had to take to make sure you could build your reputation the way you did?
Customer service. You know, I was reading an article a couple years ago when we first started this, and it was the CEO of Starbucks. He was saying that Starbucks isn't in the coffee business. They're in the people business, and they just happen to be serving coffee.
Right.
And that struck me as so profound on so many levels, and that it applied to every service business. And I would say the exact same thing about what we do. We're not necessarily in the yoga business. We are in the people business, and we happen to be serving yoga. And we're really passionate about what we do. We're really passionate about the yoga, and we strive to provide absolute excellent product. But at the end of the day, the boutique fitness industry is a community-oriented industry.
Right.
It is all about client engagement and this personal relationship that they're developing with instructors, with front desk staff, and also with the owners of the business. So we harp on and continually remind our staff and our management that every single interaction that you have with a client leads to what you referred to before was the referrals, the word of mouth, how we get more people in the door, and remind them that whenever you have a negative client experience, that leads to potentially much more negative connotation than a positive experience leads to positive results.
Right.
So anytime that you have a potential negative situation, you do anything that you possibly can to make sure that that customer is happy. Some people, there's nothing that you can possibly do that will make them happy with what it is that you're providing, because we just can't be everything for everyone.
Right.
But we can leave every single customer interaction with that person knowing that we empathize with them and that we treated them fairly. And if we can do that 100% of the time across the board, then we can generate continually positive reviews and avoid the 1-star angry ranting reviews, because we can reach out to those people before it becomes
right. Well, here's the thing. I actually get along great with all the things that I do, right? So whether it's an Orange Theory, whether it's a printing vendor, whoever it is, I have great relationships with all the people that I give money to in exchange for service. I don't review anyone. And it's not because I'm a jerk. Like, if I was your customer, I wouldn't review you, not because I'm a jerk or because I don't like your service, just because it's not top of mind, right? But if you were to say to me, Mike, do you mind leaving us a review on Yelp? It really help our business. I totally do. I would even get to my car. I'd do it before I even get to the car. So do you guys have systems in place to make sure that you're just keeping it top of mind and not relying on people to just go actively do it themselves?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, coming back to the Listen 360, that certainly helps with people, because when they click 10 out of 10, it gives them that reminder. Oh, why is it 10 out of 10? And then it has a link right there to Google reviews or...
Okay, so you have an automated system.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And then the other thing is as a small business owner, being there and being part of the community that you're building goes so far. I know so many of our clients by name, and even though we've grown to 4 studios, they appreciate the fact that I'm there all the time. They know me. They know if there's a problem, they can reach out to me directly, and it's not just some vertically integrated funnel that they never actually get to talk to the owner. So if I were in a passive ownership role where I really had nothing to do with the business, our clients probably wouldn't feel the engagement and wish for us to succeed the way that they do, because they genuinely care about the business. So having your clients care about the business as much as you do goes a really long way.
Well, and your employees too.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
So what you were saying earlier, I picked up on it. You said we really talk to our employees about taking care of every customer no matter what. When you have that in place, you don't have to worry about every client calling you, because they feel comfortable going to the team knowing that they want to help them too. And so your calls would be dramatically higher if you weren't building such a great team, right?
Yeah.
But because you've got that in place, you're able to make those announcements. Hey, call me if you need me, and you know it's not going to be overwhelming, which is pretty cool. Last year, 2016, you won Bold Conference's Multi-Location Business of the Year. Now, you and I got a chance to talk backstage about this before, and you said you weren't aiming for it, you just got an email. But what was the criteria? What was it that made them go, we got to get this guy the award, he deserves it?
For us, I don't know who was making the decisions, but I think a lot of it was we grew really fast. So from a financial metric standpoint, there was phenomenal growth, not just in revenue, but in new clients. And that came a lot from the additional locations, but also our team grew.
How many clients did you get up to?
On what level?
On all locations.
We have about 1,200 members who are on auto renew or annual membership.
And then you have packages.
And then we have class packages.
That's
so
incredible.
we have about 8,000 active members.
Good job.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Most yoga studios just can't accomplish that. I've seen it. Most small businesses have a hard time with that. Getting to a certain point it seems feasible. But then once you have to start building a team, because you can't do everything all the time. You can't be at 4 studios. You can't answer all the sales calls and still be doing customer service calls, classes, looking at the books, doing all that. So this is really great because you've been able to find a way to be a business owner that provides yoga services, right? And I think that's what a lot of people need to understand more. It's not so much about being a business owner or a yoga instructor or a salon owner. It's about being a business owner, and then now, okay, what do we provide? What do people hire us for? How do we make that an amazing experience?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
you've killed it with that. So before we wrap this up, growing your business the way you did, and like we talked about, it's because you knew how to be a business owner. What are things that you read or listen to or watch in order to keep your mind sharp and always ahead of the curve in the business world, and make sure you're constantly putting that into your head so you can apply new things?
Yeah. Well, I'm always keeping up with the trade journals,
Okay.
and my wife is a very deep reader when it comes to Elephant Journal and Yoga International and some of the more industry-specific stuff.
So she reads industry stuff and you read the business stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then
Okay.
I have always read, and I really like to keep up with the business stuff. I read the Wall Street Journal all the time. But then I also, at the end of the day, there are a lot of principles that bring entrepreneurs together, regardless of what industry that you're in. So I've always liked the Inc.com stuff, Entrepreneur, and those articles that really talk about how to sustainably grow your business.
In today's market too.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, hey man, you've done a great job, and that's why we wanted to have you on the show. There's a lot of people that would love to be in your shoes, be able to achieve the success that you've achieved. You should be very proud of all the stuff that you've done. And for all of you guys that watched and listened in, hope you all learned a lot, and definitely follow him and understand a little bit more about what he's doing so you can start being inspired and doing that stuff too. Other than that, hey, thanks so much for coming on.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it.
Thanks
and
so
for
much.
everyone else, thank you, and we will see you next week. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you like this episode, then subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher, and to our YouTube channel to never miss an episode. You can get all the links by going to boldshow.com. Thanks, and see you next time.